New Orleans is next if you're ready to jump to them. And I want you to go first because I'm very curious about what you're going to say.
So I don't count the players that they should move as they would actually be selling. So I also have them as a hold. If there's an opportunity to buy because you're able to use Tomas Satoransky's $10 million expiring salary to get someone back, New Orleans also has that $17.1 million Steven Adams trade exception. If you can be opportunistic along those lines, and I've seen reports that they want to be buyers at the deadline, there's a subsection of Pelicans Twitter that seems like they'd be very interested in CJ McCollum. I'm not making any big time decisions without seeing Zion Williamson play again for this team. And I'm not hinting at the fact that maybe he'll try and force his way out over the summer. I'm honestly not getting into that. He needs to actually play, as in be healthy. And I just don't, and I don't see the value in buying because of that, but I also don't see the value in selling. Why would you give up on Brandon Ingram right now? I don't think his deal is bad. You can move him at $31.7 million next year if you have to. Jonas Valanciunas has been good for you in that deal at 14.7. I mean, he's basically 2 years and $30 million. I don't know if I'd call it a steal, but it's going to be fine on that extension. Josh Hart has turned into one of the best contracts in the summer. I still don't know. He signed by Clutch, right? He should fire Clutch. How did he only get one guaranteed season on the market? That's just another instance of Clutch, like maybe compromising their other guys. Look, if I'm Taylor Horton Tucker, like, yeah, maybe you got paid, but did you really just have me re-sign with the Lakers to help LeBron's team have some better trade fodder? That might be a question we need to have. So, and look, I thought about like maybe they need to sell off Jaxson Hayes, or is now the time to give up on Nickeil Alexander-Walker? But I still believe in Nickeil Alexander-Walker. It's too early to give up on the Trey Murphy. Maybe you think that Najee Marshall is done. Like, you can look at stuff like that. You're definitely not giving up Herb Jones. In terms of meaningful moves, though, like that would be I look at, okay, what can we get for Jaxson Hayes or Nickeil Alexander-Walker? And is it a first round pick? And if it's not, buy. So I have them as hold just because I need to understand what this team is more with Zion. And I think they've stumbled into some pieces that will work really well with him, including Jonas Valanciunas. Looking at the season Josh Hart is having, Herbert Jones. Just think about lineups where if you really want to downsize and it's Zion and Herbert Jones is your front court, that dude is positionless. He has one of the B-Ball Index does matchup difficulty metrics.
Mm-hmm.
He has like one of the 5 most difficult defensive workloads in the league this season, and he's just holding up. Not only would he be, I think he'd be my first team all rookie this season. I'm going to mention his name if and when I do all defense picks. So
yeah,
I'm actually pretty firm about them holding. Anyone in the league can be an opportunistic buyer. Let me make that clear. Like, I'm not going out there saying, yeah, we need to go out and get like CJ McCollum or Harrison Barnes. Like, no, you need to understand what's going on with Zion, what the team looks like should he play, or you just wait until the offseason where if he doesn't play, then you at least know what you're dealing with looking at that Zion trajectory.
So we agree about almost everything. The only thing, and that's why I wanted you to go first, because I was curious what you'd say with regard to where Zion fits in. So my thought is, I think New Orleans almost has to act as if he's going to be fine, which, like I've said several times, is super unlikely to me. Like, I just don't see a great ending for this. But I think this is an opportunity for them to just build the roster as if he's going to be back tomorrow. And like, what would that need to look like? And it's really just shooting, basically. And it'd be nice if Jones, I think, is someone you absolutely hold on to for all the reasons you mentioned. Like, he might just be your fixer.
46+% on threes over his last 10 games.
He's just like a total, windfall to get a guy like that at that spot. You mentioned McCollum. I think I'm putting in a call for $90 million Garrison Matthews, the real deal. I want to see if I can get Duncan Robinson, hopefully for cheap, since he's had such a down year by his standards. I'm calling on Buddy Hield, which, like, bring him back, whatever. He spent half the season there.
What about Norman Powell?
Sure. Like, I want shooting. I want shooting, and I'm willing to use my trade exception. I'm willing to use all those picks. And plus, they basically own the Lakers and Bucks drafts through like 2027. So they got that too. I just think there's opportunities to get one of the things that's actually potentially available is shooting right now, like, which that's crazy. And the Pelicans are going to need more of it than anyone if the whole point Zion just, running into the lane and drawing all 5 defenders thing is going to be how you play in the best iteration of this team, the ideal iteration. I think it's super risky. It could backfire, but if Zion is not healthy or demands to leave or whatever, it backfires anyway. So like you're kind of, I view it as you're screwed if he isn't what you need him to be. Um, so you might as well just hope he's going to be what you want, and you build the team accordingly. And I think they have the assets to do it. So I would call them a buyer, but specifically just of shooting, and you cross your fingers.
They should. I know that their trade exception expires basically when the moratorium ends in free agency, so they have time to use it over the offseason if they want. But they should try to be using that in some form, even if it would count as selling. Because if you take on money, and they're $21 million, more than $21 million away from the tax right now.
Yep.
So you could get, like, if someone's willing to give you a first round pick to dump somebody, or I guess I didn't give enough consideration to, I don't know, I don't think Miami would do this, but if you're just sending them like a pick and they're sending you Duncan Robinson to just like give them so much wiggle room under the tax, you could definitely look at something along those lines. I do like the idea of a Norman Powell there. Oh, who are the other names? Duncan Robinson, I would like if he's gettable. I just don't know, like, what assets do you have to give up to get those players is my point. Like, that's where it gets, I don't want to give up those types of assets, which is why I'm going to put the onus on you. Who's the player most likely to be traded in your mind?
I think it's just Satoransky. He's been so bad for most of this year, and he's expiring, and that $10 million figure is kind of nice. So, and like, he's just not integral to whether you want to approach their outlook like I do or like you do. I don't think Satoransky figures prominently into it, like, no matter what. So just his expendability, I think, makes him. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else I would consider.
If you're planning on Zion coming back this year, why not Jaxson Hayes? I know he's been better. This is not like the beginning of the season when everyone was completely out on him, but you have Willie Hernangomez. But like, are you so in on Jaxson Hayes that he's extension eligible this summer? Isn't it time to sort of see, like, no, you're not going to get, I guess maybe because you know you're not going to get a first round pick for his services, that you don't move him? I land on Tomas Satoransky too, just because he's the most logical choice. Is it you could take back a contract that's longer, maybe a team doesn't want, or just a more expensive player to help a team duck the tax? But if you believe that, and like, your big man availability has been so all over the place of late, I get it, but like, I think that would be the name that if you were actually shopping it as a name to move, Jaxson Hayes would be the one that I'm most aggressively throwing out there.
Yeah, that's a good one too, because you're right. Like, he's your third center at best. Really, if you're, once you're whole, and that's not even considering like Zion's going to play there some, and you could use Herb Jones potentially in some weird small ball looks at 5-2. So yeah, Jaxson Hayes is also expendable for sure.